Mr. Irontrader, it is Tuesday morning. So we're going to take a look here at Bitcoin, at gold, silver, crude oil, natural gas, and we're going to take a look here at OneStream, OS. This video is for information purposes only, not a recommendation to buy or sell a stock commodity ETF. Please like, subscribe. Thanks for watching. All right, here we have Bitcoin daily and weekly chart. Now, before we get started, I'm going to be out of the office here today, so I got another video coming up for you here at 9 o'clock, and it's going to be about candlesticks and chart patterns. So if you want to check that out, and then I'll be back here tomorrow morning, business as usual. Okay, let's take a look here now at Bitcoin. Now you can see here we had a nice little rally up here yesterday. Look at that nice big green candle, but you always got to watch that 50-day. Look how strong that 50-day is. Now you can see here today we got higher than that. Yesterday we had that high of a 115.340. Today we made a high of 115.765 level. So we made a nice little higher high. The key is going to be that 50-day. You got to close back above that 115.146 level. That's the key. Now you can see where it sold down. The 21-day held it very, very nicely. Okay, so downside we're watching is that 113.645, 648, very, very key. And then right below we have that 8-day at 112.758, and then we have this 100-day sitting right here at 111.816. So you got a lot of good support: the 21-day, the 8-day, and the 100-day. Now if we lose that, we'll go to yesterday's low at 111.355 level, and then we can venture off here to the left. We're going to be looking at 110.480. Level. We'll come down to the bottom there at 109.720. And then we'll look here to the bottom of this candle at 109.270, 108.555. And then we have your big retest down there at 107.790. But respect this 21-day. That's always very, very key. That's a good catch-all. If not, we have that 8-day and we have that 100 SMA here. So that's always very good support on the downside. Upside, that 50-day. Got to crack above that 50-day. 115, 146. If we do, and then we'll go to today's high, 115.765 level, then we can just start venturing right on up here at 117.240, 117.685, 117.795, and then your retest at 118.295 level. So let's just see how this all going to shake out here today. Now, we had this massive selling here came in, but that was last Monday. We had $1.5 billion worth of sales. And when you start selling Bitcoin, then all the stops get hit, and then it just sells off worse. And then you had $22 billion worth of options going on here. But we have a nice, good right now here, nice good trend here going on here, and you got to look at it. We're right in here in between these price channels: 118.295 on the top, 107.790 on the bottom. So we're sitting here right about the center. Okay. Now, RSI 49, that's not overbought or oversold. The green here is just sideways with the red, which is very, very good. So let's just see if we can hold that key 21-day, that 8-day, and then that 100-day. That's going to be very, very crucial. And the upside, got to crack above that 115, 144 level, and then we can take that bad boy higher. Now, here we are. We're stuck pretty much right between that 21-day here on the downside, 111.773, and then we have that 8-day, 113.883 on the top. So you can see where it popped above so far for the week, but we're just like a little ping pong action between that 21-day and that 8-day. Now we really want to hold this key level, this 21-day here by Friday. That's going to be key. It's early. It's only a Tuesday morning here, so you got plenty of time. And it'd be nice if we could get it and close above that 8-day, 113.883. That would be good. So that 8-day does not cross over, because that 8-day crosses over 21-day. Then this is the result of that. Okay. All right. Let's take a look here now at gold and silver. Here we have gold and silver. Now, I had a really, really good run here in the gold. And again, as I say here, as long as we're above this 8-day, we're going to be sideways to up action. Now, we tapped right on out here. I said, basically, when we come up to the top of this candle here, we're looking for that 38.20 level. It came up to 38.24. And then I figured you're going to go run right up to that 39 level. Well, you came pretty damn close to 3,900. Okay, and the next level would be that 32, 39.20. A lot of times it just overshoots like it did here. Just kind of overshot it there. By 24 level. Okay, so we have a topping tail situation, so you got to be a little bit careful. So on the upside here, what you're watching is the top of this candle, that 38.24. We're watching top of this candle, 38.63, and then that 38.99. Let's just call that 3,900. Okay, you crack above that, and that 39.20 is going to come into play, and then you can just keep right on venturing up. However, we do have a red topping tail candle, but that's very, very early right now. So on the downside here, again, just watch this level, 38.24 level. Watch today's low, 38.20, but this is going to be the key right here is this 37.91. You got to hold that on a closing basis. If you lose it, we'll come down to the bottom there, 37.85, and just follow the candles down. 37.64 level, we'll come down to the bottom there, 37.51, and we'll come to the bottom there at 37.18, and then we'll be looking right here for this 37.13 level. If that's lost, we'll come down to where we had this double bottom situation at that 36.60 level. But right now, sideways to up. Okay, action because we're above that 8-day. So you can see where it breaks out, then it consolidates. It breaks on out, consolidates. And then what we do is it breaks right on out, consolidates. So let's just see where this all stands here. Just because I have a topping tail here at 6 o'clock in the morning, that doesn't mean it's going to be like that all day. Now, very, very strong. You can see, but again, this is a very, very overbought condition. Could be a matter of time. Now, it's all going to be hinged on if they can get this the government shut down. And eventually what it does is shuts down and then it reopens, kind of situation. So don't get too excited. But a lot of times I always look for gold and silver as like a fear factor kind of a situation. Okay. But we are in a very, very, very overbought situation, but it's also a strong, very, very strong commodity. Okay. So again, just watch that 8-day on the downside, very, very key. And then watch that 3,900 on the upside. Okay, silver. Well, silver had a nice good run here. You can see we're holding that 8-day. Same thing. Run red up, consolidation. Run up here, consolidation. Run up, consolidation. And now we're outside that price channel. So every time you see that, it looks like it wants to come on in. So you just look to the past, okay? See outside the price channel, and then come right back in here. Outside the price channel, come right back in. Okay? Outside the price channel, then she wants to come back in. So basically, you're looking for that 47.41 there on the high side. You crack that, you're heading for that 48 level, and eventually you work your way towards that 50. Downside, well, what we're going to do is we're watching today's low. That's at 45.96. Now, this red candle here pretty much engulfed the previous day's candle. Okay, so now we made this lower low. So we got to see if that's going to hold. So watch today's low, 45.96. Top of that candle, 44.06, and then watch that 8-day at 45.15. That's going to be very, very crucial. We lose it, we'll come to the bottom of that candle, 44.06 level, and right here, this 43.21, that would be your catch-all. But again, as long as we're above that 8-day, we can just have some consolidation on the sideways. But we got to have to do this 80, and that always tells me that is way, way overbought kind of scenario. So you got to always be careful when it goes up that high. Now you can see here where you had those high levels, but it was just rallying up your night. This was almost like a big pop right on up, right to the 80, and then she came right on down. So bottom line for today is watch that 47.41 on the upside. You break out of that, you're going to go to that 48 level. Okay, on the downside, just watch this 8-day, 45.16. Needs to hold it. If not, it's going to come down to the old catch-all. Okay, let's take a look here now at crude and natural gas. Okay, here we have crude and we have natural gas. Okay, now remember the API report on crude oil will be out today at 4:30. Now, it looks like they're going to get some kind of a peace agreement going on there in the Middle East, and that's really what this is all about, kind of a situation. So if you just look to the past here, we had that inverse head and shoulders, left shoulders, head, right shoulders. So you're going to go to the 200-day, that's where you went. This was that war premium, Israel, Iran kind of a situation, okay? But just remember when that ends, which it always does, it will come flying down just like it did here, but that was like a $10 premium. So always watch that. But right now, the market is very, very well supplied. The hurricane season wasn't really what you call really harsh this year. There's another hurricane development, but it's going up the coast. To make a disruption, you have to go inside that Gulf, where you're shutting down rigs, platforms, you know what I'm saying? You're shutting down the ports, and that affects crude oil, natural gas, and gasoline. But that's not what we had. But when we look at this, look at this topping tail. Look at that bad boy, okay? See, that's when you see that, that means, man, that's not a good look, okay? That's going to go lower. So remember, 9 o'clock today, I have a video coming out there, and it's going to be about candlesticks and chart patterns. It's one I showed here on a Saturday about a month ago. So just take a look at that, and it really helps you to get the whole gist of candlesticks and chart patterns. So like when you see something like this, there's no way that just says that this is going to be going higher when you see a topping tail like that. Now, yesterday we had that big red candle. Today we have another lower low situation. So what we're watching on the downside is 62.45. That'll be today's low. Then we'll come to the bottom there. You're looking at 62.20, and then we had this 61.85, and then we have 61.45. That is going to be the big retest. Now, this is going to be very, very strong support because we hit it, you hit it, okay, we hit it, and we hit it, and it held 4 times. But again, if you lose that, that's the problem. If you lose that, here's your big target right there, 59.74. You lose that, here's your big target, 57.74. Just bring that price channel right across. Then we have a target there at 56.39 and then 55.12 level. Eventually, I think by the end of the year here, this crude oil will be down in the 50s because now remember OPEC meeting is to be coming up here in October, and we got to see if how they're going to be adding oil here again. Now they're adding about 132,000 barrels a day here for October. So let's see what they do in like November, December kind of a situation. Okay. So let's just take a look here now on the upside. Well, we got to get back above that 21 day, 63.48. Have to get above 63.68. And then we have to get the 50 day, 64.26. So we got a lot of resistance here, 64.82. And then we can hit the top of that candle at 65.40. Then we come to the left of the chart here, 65.72. 66.03, and then we hit sticky up here at 66.42 and then 66.79. But when you have a topping tail like this here, this just looks like it wants to at least retest this 61.45 level. But again, any kind of a disruption, any kind of a war, any kind of a situation can take crude higher without no explanation at all. Okay, now 45, you're not overbought or oversold. The same way with here, this is green is still over your red. So actually, this is here is just looking sideways. The key is can it hold? This right there is that 61.45. Now, Natgas had a pretty good run there yesterday. It's really good trading. Now, we're hanging right around this 100-day, okay? That's going to be key, 3.25. Now, if we get above that, we can go to yesterday's high at roughly 3.30, okay? Then we do the next level on upside is going to be right there at 3.33. Then we follow the bottom of that candle, 3.38. We have 3.40, and then your big target is going to be that 3.48, which is your 200-day. Crack above that, we got the double top situation here at 3.62 retest. Okay. Now on the downside here, what we're really watching is going to be watching the top of this candle here. Okay, this would be that 319. That's going to be very, very key. Okay. Then we come to the bottom of this candle at 3.13, and then we have 3.12. That's going to be key. Now you look at that 3.12. There's your gap. And then we looked at the top of the candle, 2.96 is your fill, gap and fill. But we have the 21-day at 302. We have this 8-day now that crossed over at 301. And then we have that 50-day at 298. So if this 8-day can keep on pushing up, that'll be very, very good support. Now, it doesn't always have to fill the gap. Okay, I'll give you a perfect example. Okay, here we have 2.77 level. Where did it come right down? 2.77 level. See how that held? But if it starts getting into that gap, then you'll fill that gap at 2.74. So it doesn't mean it has to fill this gap because we have a lot of support kind of a situation. But if this can rally up here, just watch yesterday's high. That's what we're trading against, yesterday's candle. Roughly 3.3 on the high side, 3.13 there on the downside. Now, 62, that's not overbought or oversold. The green is over your red. So we got to see how this all going to shake out here on the old Natgas. Okay, let's look at OneStream. All right, here we have OneStreet. Now, my buddy in the chat room, he trades this all the time, and he just he's having a little hard time with it. But again, we just have this consolidation. Okay, so we had this nice, good run up kind of situation, but then we had this. See how we had this high? Okay, you put a topping tail on high, then a lower high, and a lower high. That's never good when you see that. Then when she falls down, and then it comes right on down. Now we have this consolidation on the sideways action, but yesterday we had this big ass red candle. Now you look at this candle, it says 1982. Now, what you have to do is look to the left of the chart here. What do you see? Okay, 1882. And what we have there, you have 1889 level. Okay, so right now we have a double bottom situation. Okay, off that candle. If we lose that, then you're going to come down to that price channel right there at 1842. Okay, now if you crack that 1842, that's going to be very, very strong because all we have to do is look at the bottom over here. See, you had 1845. Okay, see that? See how nice and strong that is? But if that's lost, then you're going to start hitting these levels here, okay? Then you're going to be looking at 1796. You're going to look at 1769, 1738, and then 1669 all the way to the bottom, okay? Because, again, when you see that double bottom situation, and if that's lost, when we come down to that price channel at that 1842, just always look to the left of the chart here, and you can see here how nice that we had that double bottom situation. But if you can't hold that, then she can crack, and then you're going to probably retest that 1669 level. Okay. Now here on the upside, well, we're going to be watching the bottom of that candle right here. You're looking at 1924, and then we're going to come up to this 21-day at 1961, and then we have your 8-day at 1969. Now you get above it, we're pretty much jammed up right in this area, so you're going to be coming right here to be small trades at 2022 level, and then we have 2052 level. And then we can start coming up to your 2106 level, which is your 50-day. If we can get above that, then we just bring this price channel right across. There's your upside target at 2160 level. Okay. Then we just come right to the bottom of that candle. You got 2264 level. And then we come to the bottom there. You're looking at 2317. We look to the top of that candle at 2355. And then we head for this 100 SMA at 2417 and 200 day at 2457. But the key to this whole chart right here is it has to hold that 1842 level. Okay, that's going to be very, very critical on a closing basis. If not, okay, then we can just start heading for these levels right here on the left-hand chart, and then we look for that 1669 retest. Okay, but right now here we have a double bottom. Okay, that there candle and this candle, we have a double bottom. So let's just see if it can hold and rally back up here towards that 21-day and that 8-day, and possibly take it back up to that 50-day. Okay, now this is not overbought or oversold here on the RSI. The same with the green is red. This is just a sideways kind of an action situation. Okay, so right now the key is just watch that 1842. Very, very critical. If we get back above that 21-day and that 8-day, then we got a good shot at maybe taking up to that 50 SMA. Okay, that's what I got for you. Now, again, I say the video will pop up there about 9 o'clock this morning here for you on candlesticks and chart patterns. And then I'll be back here tomorrow morning, and we'll do the rest of the week business as usual. Trade what's in front of you, not what you want.